What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Jay's Corner TCG live stream podcast. Today in the podcast, we have the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Pat Flynn from D Pocket Monster. Ooh, we got the fun. Man, see, I have to figure out how to add like the little effects into the podcast on my end. I can't even add any of the dude. But
anytime you need help or anybody watching, I'm down. I nerd out on this stuff, and it's so much fun. I'm just a big kid on a YouTube channel. It's really it.
A big kid with the big platform, though. So it's a much appreciated for you to come through and say what's up and talk a little bit about yourself, Pokemon, the channel, card party. There's so many moving parts going on at the moment. So I mean, thank you again for being in here.
And my pleasure. I see some friends in the house, which is awesome. Like all the usual suspects. Gonzo, the Gonzo shirt.
Wearing the Gonzo shirt, I was like,
why? Well, first of all, Gonzo's dope. You know, he did the mullet thing. He followed through on his promise, which is great. Also, he gave me a size just like one size too small, so I look jacked. And that's like, I knew I was going to be in front of a lot of people today, so I just wanted to look as jacked. I did like 100 push-ups right before the stream. So,
you got a little bit of a pump going on now. I see it.
Yeah, right.
Flex on him.
This should be kid friendly. I don't know, but I'm just stoked to chat. I'm usually on the I'm the one controlling the stream with thousands of people. I'm just was so excited just to hang and chat today.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, thanks again so much for being here. And kind of a little way to go into this. I know you are a big Back to the Future fan, of course. And what's funny is that the Twin Pines Mall, obviously it's the Puente Hills Mall over here.
Yep.
That was the mall I frequented as a young teenager the most, which I thought it was just funny.
Real?
Yeah. So I lived in the area around there too. So that was like everybody's go-to mall destination for the longest time. And I didn't know until later on in life. Well, I guess by the time I was a teenager, I knew about that, but it was like the Twin Pines Mall. And I remember at one point they had some sort of like Back to the Future event, celebrating some sort of the anniversary and everything like that. So I just thought it was really funny. Like, okay, some sort of little parallel right there.
Yeah, no, that's dope. I actually filmed this is like way back in the day when I was doing entrepreneurship stuff. I did some work for a Hollywood studio and did their social media, and I had some contacts there. And I did a presentation at one point for my business that involved Back to the Future. So I was like, I need to film a movie.
Yeah.
Just to kind of like intro that, you know, very like Ian with Bean style, right? Like getting into the cinematography of it all. So I actually hired this film crew and we went to Puente Hills Mall to film that. And I rented a DeLorean and there was a whole film crew there. We were there till like 2 a.m. I was like, this is such an iconic place. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. Like, I'll show you. I'm going to be getting up a lot today because I got all kinds of stuff. I mean, I got a hoverboard.
The hoverboard.
Right there. I got the shoes. I have a whole closet full of stuff. So I've been a collector for a while. Just only the past 3 years really has been the Pokemon focus. But dude, that's dope. I didn't know you were over there.
Yeah, man, just right there. So it's funny too, because you know, as I kind of talked to you a little bit before. I was listening to Superfans, and I thought it was just funny that you happened to, you know, love, because I didn't realize you loved Back to the Future that much, you know. And then I heard that little tidbit about you filming that kind of that intro into one of your keynote speeches. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing that you actually went to the location and everything like that.
Yeah.
Hey,
again,
to all the mods, welcome in. Yeah, man. So thank you guys so much for coming through. Bay Showcase, Eddie Broski, the Pokédon, Ricky, what's going on, man? Dub in the building, Pidgey Boys, catch 'em all. 22026 Gonzo, Broly Pool, Smack Daddy, Ricky. I already said hi to you, Ricky. Hi. Mount Killer Mongello in the building. Killer, welcome in. Dragon Quest TCG. Everybody, thank you so much for coming in. We are gonna go ahead and get this rolling. So Pat, coming into the Pokemon space, you know, you've, you know, been into the entrepreneurship business side of things for, you know, quite a bit of time before you actually moved into the Pokemon space. And I know your son had a big influence in you kind of moving into that space. What do you think made you want to, you know, pursue something bigger than just collecting, you know, and when I say bigger, the content and everything?
Yeah. So 2020 came around, nobody was going anywhere, and collectibles was coming up. And then my son started to get into Pokemon. My daughter had a few Pokemon cards, and it was just fun to kind of figure out the game and figure out what it was like. And it just brought back a lot of memories that I had when I was growing up, because I grew up as a Magic the Gathering fan.
Got it.
MTG. and I played a lot. It was so much fun. I sold all those cards for money before I went to college, which was a huge mistake. That was like in the revised edition era, which was terrible. But anyway, brought back those memories of collecting and playing. But what I didn't have back then when I collected MTG was YouTube and content creators and other people who I could reach and connect with on the other side of the world who were into the same things I were, if only. But here we were getting into Pokemon, and I go, okay, well, let me do some research, and I discovered Rev. I discovered Real Breaking Nate. That's when Leonhardt like came into the picture, and a bunch of others. And I was like, man, there's this whole community here. This is awesome. And my initial idea wasn't like, ooh, I think I could be a part of this too. It was just like, let me get involved in these communities. A lot of people started to see me show up on live streams with PokeRev and a few others. I started to participate with RGP, Royalty Gaming Pokemon, and buy some cards from him. And I just, showed up and wanted to participate. And like I talk in my book, Superfans, if you ever are a fan of something, you just should join the conversation. And through that, potentially business ideas and other things can come up. Now, I've been a seasoned entrepreneur, and when you are a seasoned entrepreneur, you learn the language of problem solving, and that's what any good business is. And so I found a problem when I was trying to search up more things about Pokemon. I was like, hey, everybody's kind of doing the same thing. They're opening packs. They're reacting in their own special way, but nobody's telling story here. Nobody's really going deeper into the history of these cards. Nobody is like creating challenges like Mr. Beast style. Like, I wonder what would happen if I came in, and then I got that bug. When you have an idea and you think about it all the time, like you're trying to have a conversation with your wife, but you're thinking about that idea.
Right.
That kind of bug, right?
Same. I didn't mean to laugh that hard at that.
No, because she probably won't watch this anyway. Maybe, actually.
Does she watch any of your Deep Pocket Monster stuff? Or
she watches it when the kids are in.
Okay.
When the kids are in, she'll watch it. But she's like, that's your thing. You do you. Like, you're weird. That's what she says. But and then I found my good friend from a while back, Dan Patrick Norton, who's now the producer of DPM, and
shout out to Dan.
We got together, and I was like, what would it look like if we created a Pokemon channel? And initially, it was going to be similar to like Twice Baked Jake. That's what our idea was. Like, okay, these videos are fairly easy to create. You sit in front of a camera, you talk about the information you're learning, but I was like, I don't know much. Yeah. Like, I can't compete with Jake on information about the market because I'm just entering it. I could rehash everything other people are saying, but I would just be a carbon copy and second at best. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe I can talk about my collection. Well, I didn't have a collection. I was just getting started, so I can't compete with that. And no matter what area you get in, you're supposed to try to find what your unique or what they call in business your USP is, your unique selling proposition. And for me, I knew I could tell good stories, and I knew I could wrap something up nicely in a packaged video with a bow. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna celebrate these cards. I'm going to announce that I am a newbie in this, and just take people along the ride. And as I learn, and maybe you could teach me something. Right. Yeah. And it was just always an honest, authentic approach there. And I think people were very impressed initially with, yes, the cinematography, and we had like camera equipment and stuff that I had access to, which was an advantage, but really the storytelling. And ever since DPM started, it was like leaning into the story. Yeah. Story is something that connects all humans. It connects all of us. It doesn't even matter if you care about the person. You can relate to the challenge, the hero's journey, the struggle, and then the coming out of it and the joy that comes with that. And that's why a lot of people who end up watching the DPM channel or who discover it, who enjoy it, aren't even into Pokemon, because story is a universal language. Yeah. And of course, people who are into Pokemon are like, "Whoa, where did this guy come from?" And there were some gatekeepers and other people who were like, "Why are you here?" But I think I've, at least at this point, I hope I've earned my right to stick around and be a part of the community. And
what's funny? I remember you and OKJ Love having kind of like that conversation around any type of gatekeepers, and as you entered into the hobby, you were able to make maybe a bigger splash than others just because you had the assets in order to really dive and be completely immersed within this hobby. So I'm sure like a lot of people came in and were wondering like, okay, what is this guy really about? But did you know Rev somewhat previous? I feel like he had mentioned before, like he had seen like, or had been part of your Pat Flynn channel at some point too. Was that something that had happened?
The story was 2020. I was watching Gary Vaynerchuk on a live stream.
Shout out Gary V.
He was just going. Yeah, shout out Gary V. And all of a sudden, somebody calls in to the show, and it's Rev. I didn't know exactly who Rev was. I knew him from the channel, but I didn't know him. I never maybe talked to him before. And then he opened a pack with Gary, and it wasn't anything special. It was kind of a done pack. But anyway, that was kind of interesting. And then that's when I discovered Rev and followed his channel. I really liked all that he was doing. He was doing the big vintage box breaks on Tuesdays like he always does, and I started to buy some of those cards. And then I come to email or message Rev, and he was like, dude, Pat, like, I've been following your stuff for years, like back in the day before even Pokemon started for Rev. And I was like, what? Like, this is insane. So, you know, and then like, I ended up growing a beard like him. I just wanted to be like Rev, but no, like
it's the quarantine beard, huh? It's the quarantine beard, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's where mine came.
Exactly, same. And what ended up happening was I got that itch to start the channel, Deep Pocket Monster, and I reached out to Rev and I was like, Rev, I don't want to step on your toes. I'm not going to do anything like you. I can't, because you are you and you have access to all this stuff and you've been in it for a while. I'm just going to try to do it in my way. And he's like, dude, I think you could bring something completely new to this space. Do it. Like, you have my support. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. So Rev was not definitely a gatekeeper. The gatekeepers, if you will, were people I don't even know. I don't even know who they were. There were people who emailed me with emails. One of the emails was fakepocketmonster@gmail.com. And he was like, he swore, or this person swore, I don't know if it was a he or she, that I was like a con artist or just coming in trying to scam people. And I was like, first of all, I'm not selling anything.
Right.
So, I mean, I haven't, like, I'm okay. And the second, he's like, the giveaways aren't real. But I had receipts, yo.
I had receipts.
On deck.
And it's in, dude, you gotta have receipts, especially, and I knew this. I expected this to happen. I am not, this is not my first rodeo.
You've been around the block.
I knew that there were, exactly. So I knew that coming into a tight-knit community, anybody's going to be protective. Yeah. And I empathize. I'm not like hating on these people. I understand. Somebody new comes in, you want to make sure that it's somebody legit. So I had receipts. The guy never reached back out to me. I guess I proved my point. And again, I had to earn that respect over time. I did not believe it was even owed to me yet. So I just said, okay, I'm just going to keep going, doing my thing and providing value. And, you know, I think for the most part, people enjoy the DPM content and what I have to bring to the space. I still know that there are some people out there who might not be a huge fan, and that's fine too. It would be selfish of me to think that I could connect with and have everybody enjoy my stuff. I'm just doing me, and if people want to come along for the ride, awesome. If you don't want to come along, that's awesome too. You go find your person.
Right.
I've gone through my fair share of haters and trolls over the years, so I've been down this route before.
And you can't expect, especially when you have, I mean, you're approaching 1 million subs. Congrats on hitting that 777,777 on the live stream. Lucky sevens and everything. So you're approaching that 1 million. And when you have that broad of an audience, it just, you know, it amplifies the fact you're going to get hates or the haters. And I love the way you respond to it, you know, with either like the lightheartedness or just kind of like a, you know, a little comeback that's not too combative, but at the same time letting you know, like, hey, I see this, but it's, you know, doesn't affect me. It's kind of just brush it off.
And I brush it off and then don't even address it. That's what I've learned when I was bullied in school. My way of, because I was a short kid. I mean, you're a tall guy. If you could spare some inches, that'd be great. But I was 5 feet tall my senior year of high school. Like, I was a shrimp, right? So I always got picked on naturally, but my defense was just not reacting, right? Because that's what they want. They want a reaction. They want that, like, you know, excitement and whatever. And what I've come to learn is that hurt people. Right. People who are hurt often hurt others because they're looking for attention or want something. And so whenever I get a hater or a troll in any of my businesses in Pokemon, I always try to come at it with empathy, but I also like a little clap back.
Yeah.
Like I'll if I'm,
I see a little bit in there, you know. I see.
If I'm a little creative in that moment, I'll say something and just kind of like one up that person. And, you know, I don't want to start anything. There's enough drama in the space already. I want to try to cushion some of that and, you know, play a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, just it's supposed to be a fun thing. It's a card game. You know, you're supposed to have fun with it and be able to, you know, approach it in a kind, lighthearted manner. And you kind of talked about the storytelling aspect of things, which I think has, you know, evolved on your channel. I mean, I remember watching that intro video. I actually just rewatched it today just to see it again, on how you kind of approached it with like an open mind, you know, and really just trying to come into this space and be authentic with it, and let everybody know, like, you don't know everything, but hey, I'm here for the ride and trying to have fun with everything too. And then especially now with like the binder challenge videos, I think peak storytelling was watching that Evo Skies binder challenge. That just popped off, and I rewatched it multiple times to try to dissect it and see like, what is it that drew me in? And I was like, I don't want to stop watching this. I kind of want to finish it all the way through.
So what did you discover, like, in your research with that? Like, why do you think that video did so well? For those of you watching, that video is now over 11 million views, and it's like a 28-minute long video or something.
Right.
Which is awesome.
And I think...
What did you discover?
I think, well, first of all, I think a lot of it plays into the fact that you and Dan have a very good relationship when it comes to the editing side of things, and you being able to work your magic with the storytelling, just because the pacing of it works well. And I was going to ask you, I'm wondering, does he send you like a rough cut of it so you can see it and then kind of, write out whatever you're going to say? Or does he send it to you fully edited, and then you kind of outline everything that you want to say and how you're going to say it, the inflections within your voice? You have a really good way of showing that you care about it, and it's not just like a flat monotone, notion all the way through that video. You just, I don't know, the pacing and the way that you have a passion about the way you speak about that video, I think is like really what keeps me interested and involved.
No, I appreciate that. I'll share exactly what goes down. So when I'm at an event like that, and there's like a goal, like I need to try to finish Evolving Skies in 48 hours, which was absolutely insane, and I can't believe we did it still. Like, I get goosebumps thinking about it, and I ended up like crying in the video, and then people in the comments were like, I'm crying, and I don't even know why. It's like, that's the biggest thing about storytelling that I've learned before I get into the tactics and strategies. It's, if you can help a person on the other end cry, be happy, be angry, show some sort of emotion in reaction to what it is that you're doing, then that's a real connection.
And it's pure too. It's pure.
It's pure.
Right? Authentic.
And then the crafting of the video, the editing, the storytelling, that can then enhance and amplify those moments, right? So the way it works is, typically I'll go to these events, and a lot of people think there's like a camera crew with me. I've only one time had another person following me. It's all been me.
Yeah.
And typically I have like a chest cam or a head cam or something, like a hero cam, and then I'll have my switch pod with a camera on it, and that's it. Like, typically my phone. I try to, like, there's a lot of other camera gear out there. A phone is good enough.
Yeah, especially nowadays.
Especially nowadays, for sure. Yeah, the quality is amazing. So my goal when I'm doing these things is to just do them for real. I don't try to stage anything, because then you can easily tell if something is sort of made up or kind of forced or something like that. The reactions aren't genuine on with people I'm interacting or myself.
Right.
The tough thing is I'm collecting hours of content on both sides. It's like, okay, there's a chest cam footage, and I'm collecting everything I can. Like, I'm not hitting stop and start all the time. It's literally recording the whole time.
Yeah.
And same thing with my other camera, and then there might be a third camera for a wide angle, just so you can kind of set the scene and stuff. And then all of that gets dumped to the editor. It's not just Dan, it's Zach on our team as well, who's really done a majority of the work lately. So shout out to Zach Snyder. And then from there, I go in, because it's easier for me to pull out the parts that I remember that were special or interesting or noteworthy. And I literally write the script from the hours of footage that's there, word for word.
Wow, okay.
And I'll pull out this moment, and I'll be like, I'll be like, okay, I get this card, and I say, oh my gosh, I can't believe we got it. And then I might record that 5 times in the voiceover. And typically I chop it up so it's like 10 voiceovers that I send over that cover the whole video. And then the editor, Zach or Dan, take that voiceover and then cut the scenes from those hours long of footage into that voiceover.
Oh, okay. So they work around what you're doing. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what, I mean, this is why it takes like 2 or 3 weeks if not more to put a video together. But it's also why it's hard for other people to compete.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we own this. It's not an original idea, but it's our way of bringing something different to the space. And it takes a long time to do. And we're willing to put in that work so it is differentiated, and so that the story can resonate whether you are into Pokemon or not. And that's why, and the thing that influences those decisions often, in terms of what ends up on the final cut or not, is data. Over the course of every video, we look at the data. Where are people replaying?
Yeah.
Where are people dropping off? Don't do what's not working in this video in the next one. Do more of what is working in the next one.
Right.
So we're pulling a lot of data, but we're also looking at the comments. The binder videos actually came as a result of a mystery box that we opened that had a binder in it. Typically, the mystery boxes we got from eBay back in the day when I was doing those videos were just poo-poo.
It was rough.
Leftover cards.
Rough.
But there was one that included a binder, and we noticed that was like the most replayed section. And it was the most interesting thing that people saw in that video. So like, okay, what would happen if we just, bought people's binders and brought them in? And so I started buying people's collections with binders, and those videos took off.
Wow.
So
Okay.
what else could we do with these binders? Well, let's feature a binder and try to finish it in X number of hours. And so the first one we did was Brilliant Stars, and that was a lot of fun.
I remember that one.
Was the first time we really experimented with like, I go fishing. What would happen if we just like inserted a random like scene of me fishing and said that I was like trying to catch Pokemon? Let's give the fish a name. Like, let's just be silly. And because that's me, it's like dad joke central. And people like commented on that. They resonated with it. And it's like, oh, people are actually okay with that. Okay, let's lean into that even more. And then I did another video where we're like, okay, what can we do to stretch the boundary? Like, okay, there's this Halloween trade night happening at TC's Rockets in San Diego. Let me make a Halloween costume that is literally a binder that I'm in. And
it was massive.
It was huge. And the big thing about that was like, ooh, that'll be a nice thumbnail. Like, how could you not click this giant binder that I'm in?
That's one of a kind already.
It is totally one of a kind. But you'll notice that like, I could have just shared, oh, here's a costume, it's a big binder.
Yeah.
But we added a story element with my son related to that to try to find a certain number of gold cards by the end of the night. So there's always something at stake, because one thing with a video, especially when you're telling a story, is like, okay, well, what happens if this doesn't work out? That's why we love movies.
Yeah.
Is like, what's going to happen in the end? And in YouTube world, it's very important to hold people to the end as best as you can. That's our goal, is to get the flattest line on the retention graph as possible. So we're using science, we're using data, we're using just feelings and comments to help inform like what we do next. And we have now these buckets of videos that we continue to add to. Right, there's this collection purchasing bucket, there's the challenges bucket, there's the Etsy buying weird things bucket, and where those came from is just like, if you do a video and it pops off, like, do another one like it.
Right.
Like, make a different version. Like, why try to reinvent something? Just do more of what people and YouTube say they like.
Yeah.
And so we have those. So we do like 80% buckets that we know work.
Right.
That's why the thumbnails look similar. They all kind of feed each other and stack. And then 20% of our videos are like experimental. We have a new experimental video coming in about a month.
Okay.
And where this is getting really exciting is the 151 challenge that just finished up. It just wrapped.
Finally.
Right? Finally. Oh my
Finally.
Gosh, praise the Lord.
Third time was the third time, right?
Third time's a charm.
There you go.
It got very expensive. Thankfully, YouTube pays for some of it, but we didn't know it was going to take 3 tries.
Right.
Because I wanted to finish the first try. 151 in 151 minutes. Like, that was such a cool angle.
Right.
But I got close in the first one, and I was like, okay, I got to do it again. And I didn't make it, and I was like, crap, like, I have to try one more time. So it became like, in anime there's like an arc.
Right.
That was the 151 arc. Right.
Right.
It really like resonated with, like, people were like,
people got
to do it again.
They got invested even more so because it was a reoccurring thing, and it was just like a challenge in front of you that you just couldn't get to.
Exactly. So we're starting to think ahead in terms of, well, what arcs can we create in the future of Deep Pocket Monster? Like, it's not just one-off videos. What stories can we tell over time? Because what ended up happening was those 151 videos, especially part 2, became some of the most subscribed to videos. Why? Because people subscribe for what's coming.
Right.
A lot of us creators think subscribing is like a like. Like, I like this video.
Yeah.
As a thank you, I'm going to subscribe. That's not a subscriber. A subscriber subscribes because of the videos that are coming, that they know are coming.
Got it.
So if you keep creating random one-off videos, how is a person gonna know and predict what value is coming their way? Versus, here's part 2, I failed. In the video, we're like, I gotta try again.
Yeah.
Subscribe, because I want to know how the story finishes, right? So that's, again, just experience teaches us this, and I'm here to pass that kind of stuff forward. So we're gonna start developing the Deep Pocket Monster arcs, and hopefully becomes like a One Piece 1,000 episodes at a time kind of thing, and right now we're in Marineford and we're gonna head over to Fishman Island soon, so
that would be the goal, though. That would be the goal, to the longevity of a channel and seeing how you can progress it and not, I, as of late, have felt like, okay, I've stood in a comfort zone for too long, and that's never a good thing as far as being in the creative space. Actually, any space, I don't think. You want to take yourself out of the norm, which for you've said before, and like, you're kind of an introvert. So putting yourself out there, filming in public, and just meeting people, not knowing what's happening, that's way out of your comfort zone, isn't it?
It is. I'm getting better with it, but I still get nervous. Like if I have a giant binder and I'm about to walk into a public space, I'm like, oh my God, this is so freaking embarrassing. But what I've learned as the creator is that nobody cares.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. When I'm in public, thinking people care about what I'm doing is I don't remember who put it this way, but they're like, are you that selfish enough to think that what you're doing on your camera is so interesting and awesome that it's going to distract people and they're going to start caring about you and think about you all day long?
Right.
No, nobody cares. They're just going to go, oh, that's cool. And if anything, they're going to get interested in it.
Like, what are you doing?
And typically exactly. And then they go, oh, that's really cool. Yeah. It's always in your head in terms of like the worst things that can happen. And it's never even close to that. So I've learned to get more comfortable with the idea of filming in public. Am I ever comfortable? No. But I also know that if I don't do it, again, this may or may not be true. It's just the way that I hack my own brain and switch the story up to get me to do it. It's like, am I that selfish to let my fear get in the way of me potentially creating a video that could teach lessons, help a lot of people, entertain people, help people escape from whatever they're going through in life?
Yeah.
Imagine a person that is, I don't know, depressed or struggling or just doesn't have anything interesting in their life happening. And they're like, Pat, can you create a video? And can you make me smile through it? And I'll be like, nah, man, I'm too scared. I don't want to help you out. Like, that's silly, right?
Yeah.
That's super silly. I use that same analogy when I help people and students in my business. It's like, okay, you have this business idea. You have a problem that you could solve, but your person is drowning. You have a life raft or a life ring. Are you going to say...
You're going to be that selfish in that?
Yeah, like, no, I've never thrown this life ring before.
Yeah. This is mine.
I miss you. This is my life ring. I'm too scared to look bad in front of other people throwing this life ring to you. No, you freaking have something that can help a person. You're going to throw it out there, and if you don't get it, you throw it out again.
Yeah.
And you throw it out again until you help them. And so those are the sort of tricks I play on myself in terms of the stories and the demons that come across my brain when it like tries to stop me from doing something that I know I want to do and should do. So I don't know, maybe that helps people or not. I don't know.
I'm sure it does. And like on top of that, you've, even in your business, on the business side of things for yourself, you've always been a person that's open and willing to share information, not just to a minimum either. You share what your business has actually made. I remember like reading in Superfans, you shared, you put out the whole, your revenue and everything that came in, and you're not afraid to share what you do on the content side of things. And I feel like that's something that's, I feel like nobody does that, or everybody feels like, okay, I need to save this for myself because if somebody else knows this, then it's going to affect me in the worst possible way. Instead of bringing up everybody around you, this is the way I would look at it too at times. You or Pokevault is in the chat right now. Sean, Nick.
What's up, Sean?
What's up, Sean? Nick, Rev, Real Breaking Nate. They funnel a ton of people into our space. And I feel like there's like a hate gets thrown around because they're just big creators. But as another creator, I'm like, no, it's a good thing that they're bringing so many people into the space, because guess what? They get interested in the hobby. Now they're interested. Now they're looking at more things Pokemon. Now that gets more interest possibly thrown your way. It's just on you to be able to execute that. So, I mean, I appreciate the hell out of all you guys that are just like continuous with it and really putting in that work in. So man, it's much appreciated. Before we go further with the podcast, you guys have been going absolutely crazy in here. So thank you all so much, for being in here. I have to read out these things right here. Castle Knight TCG on the 10-month membership. Canadian Trainer on the 10-month membership as well. Larkin Larry on the 11-month membership. Broly Pools on the 17 months. 17 months, Broly? Look at these two beautiful people, says Broly. Larkin Larry says, thank you, Pat Flynn. James and Elena TCG Collectibles on the $2 super chat said, are you PokeRev? Are you PokeRev? The Are you PokeRev? The Pokédon on the 3 months. I love your content, Jay. Keep up all your dedication, bro. I have to take off. Have an amazing night, Pokédon. Appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Kobe Collects on the $10 Canadian, eh? Appreciate you, Kobe Collects. Two of my favorites. Thanks for the content. Appreciate you, Kobe. Adam P opens on the 2 months. What's up, Jay and Pat? What a combo. Adam P, what's going on? Mr. Thrust said on the 6-month membership, let's go, Pat. Thrust. Mr. Thrust, what's going on, man? Poker Surge, sheesh, on the 14 months. Please send drama my way. Surge is ready for the drama. Don't tell anybody I said that.
Name is drama, actually.
He's like the worst, you know? Surge, I love you, Surge. Truly I do, man. Dude, we'll get into card party stuff in a minute, but just hold on. Let me finish this off. Gonzo on the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Gonzo. Shiny Vert on the $4.99 super chat. Jay, your hair looks perfect. Pat, hi, Dad, said Shiny Vert. We also have, we'll cut it off right here and then we'll continue with some later. Pokeball on the $4.99 super chat said, I can confirm there was no film crew for Pat's video. And going back, that was another really successful video that Charmander. That was another very successful video that you were able to pull off with Sean. And it was funny because Sean has been on the podcast before, and I kind of asked him about that experience and like how you guys kind of met up and kind of reached out. And he said that you reached out to him and said, like, hey, do you want to do this video? And he was like, oh yeah, sure, what the hell, why not? On top of that too, he was telling me like when he went, you guys went to Frankenstein's, when he went there, he was like, okay, I'm expecting some sort of like film crew, they're gonna follow us around. It's like, nope, it was just Pat there with some cameras.
Just us.
How
was incredible. I mean, he's so good on the fly, and we saw it in that video. He's got charisma, right? He's got the Riz. And he was able to get a Moonbryon for such a ridiculous price and win that challenge. And, I just, Sean, if you're watching, just thank you, man, for just going with the flow. I came prepared. I had a one sheet with like the shots that we wanted to take and all that kind of stuff. And, our buddy was with us, who was the person we were building the binder for, which was really fun. And it was really cool because that was one of those experimental videos, right? I mentioned the 20% where we try something new and Sean was up for it. And that was great. And I was like, cool, we're combining two forces together. We're doing something fun for a fan, and there's a challenge involved, and there's a timer, and there's a choice, and you have to wait to the end. Like, this should work. And thankfully, Sean came in and, like, just crushed it. And I'm glad he won. Like, I actually have done that challenge 3 times now. Twice with Sean, one with Unlisted Leaf, and I've lost all of them. It's my own game, and I've never won. So we're going to try again soon, one day. And but it's a fun format, and so I really enjoyed it. And Sean is just crushes on camera, and he's just so like easy to just like smile at when you're watching and stuff. And so that's when we first bonded. We became really good friends, and we've done some other challenges like a bubblegum challenge and some other random stupid stuff that people seem to enjoy. But that was really fun. I think collaborating is something that more PokeTubers need to do, and I hope to continue to set that example. And I don't just want to collab with like bigger names. I want to collab with everybody and do fun things together, right? And that's part of what Card Party's for. It's a way for us to celebrate not just the big creators, but the small creators, because a lot of you small creators, you have people who are super loyal fans. Like they're so loyal that they'd rather watch you than some of the bigger ones. Like that is huge, and that's something not to brush over. And so that's why I wanted to make sure Card Party was like, hey, everybody who's a creator like deserves to get recognized for the work that they do. And some are about to get discovered, some are going to be brand new. And it's a great place for the big names to see exactly who they're creating videos for as well. And it was such a great learning experience. I know we're going to talk more about Card Party too, but I wanted to speak really quick, Jay, about what you had mentioned earlier about just like the pool of creators and sharing and kind of lifting, a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing. A lot of people go through life in a way where it's like if somebody else wins, it feels like you lose. right? And that's such an unhealthy way that I've found to live. I used to live like that, and it was so like I saw another entrepreneur do well, and I'd feel like I was crappy because of it, or I wasn't doing good enough. So I'd try to work harder and hustle because of what somebody else was doing. And even if they were a friend, I'd get jealous or I'd want something for me.
It's like it's human nature almost in a way to kind of feel that way, and it's like it takes more effort to reassure yourself like that's not the way to look at things.
Totally. The way that I've described it now is like that's like poker table living, where if you lose, that means I'm winning, or if I win, that means you lose.
Yeah.
Or if you're winning, that means I lose. That kind of mentality versus like the abundance mentality, where it's like, hey, if you win, I could win too. We can actually win together, right? There's like poker chips flying in from everywhere. And that's the kind of example I want to set for my kids. It's the kind of example I want to set for my fans and for other creators. And that's why I'm happy to share anything. That's why at Card Party, Dan and I host workshops for getting better at YouTube. Because I want all of you to have thousands of views and more fans and more success coming your way. That's great for the whole community, right? I wish everybody could get better at storytelling, and I'm just going to continue to pass that ball forward. So, I'm in this for the community. I don't, a lot of people are like, why are you here? Like, you don't need to be here. And I think that's why it's so great, because I want to be here and I want to serve and the revenue or the ad revenue, whatever, that's just the byproduct, right? That's like the more I lean into helping, the more it comes back. And, I want the same for everybody else too.
And so I know you have so many different, endeavors going on, whether it's like your business, you're an author as well, you have family. I kind of want to hear what your wife had to say as you said, hey, honey, I'm going to make this brand new channel and I really want to put all this time and effort into it, because I feel like that's like something that, a lot of times I just like to hear like from the family side of things at times. So what was that kind of conversation like? Because when you go all in, I feel like you're someone that you want to get immersed in it. It's going to take up time. So how was that?
I mean, first of all, the reaction was that eye roll, number one, which says a lot more than words. But number two, but what she's really saying is, oh gosh, here he goes again. Another one of his another one of his big ideas. Because I'm a big idea kind of person.
Yeah.
But I'm also not somebody to just leave it in an idea. I execute. I want to see what happens, win or fail. And trust me, I've tried a lot of things that have failed in the past. But what I think made this really special was she saw that it was something I could do together with the kids. It was something she knew at least a little bit more about than my business stuff. And what I found over time that was really interesting was my wife, April, she really enjoys the community more than the business community, in fact. She used to come to business conferences with me, and people would like talk to her, but there was always a little undertone of like, are you just talking to me to get to my husband?
Got it.
Like, so you can be on his podcast, or like he can support your business, right? And some people, it turned out literally that's why they were doing that. And so it kind of hurt, and it wasn't like we had to play it safe with connections and relationships, because you never know, especially when it comes to business type stuff. But when I meet a fan on the street or something, like, genuinely this person's a fan.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other, they just enjoy the channel, and there's no hidden agenda. There's no like, ooh, can you fund my business? There's none of that. It's just like, this person watches your channel. Like, that's awesome. And so April feels more welcome. She came to Card Party, and she's a little shy, but she's enjoying it. And again, the fact that the kids are involved too. The kids are actually so involved now, even more behind the scenes. They're actually employees of the business.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, so my daughter's 11, my son is 14. No, it's not child labor. It's totally legal, trust me. Literally, the first thing people say is, that's child labor. No, look it up.
We'll edit that out later, guys. Just kidding.
You don't have to edit it out. It's real life. If you talk to your CPA, if you have like a tax person or a CPA working with you, they will tell you that you could actually hire your kids. They actually have to do work, though, and you can pay them up to a certain amount. This is for U.S. only.
Isn't it $12,000 a year, roughly?
$12,500.
Okay.
It's gone up, I think, this past year, or it might be $14,500. But you could pay them that much in wage and not have to report that to the IRS.
I've heard that.
Right? Just for kids under 18. And so this is a tax saving strategy. We've used this opportunity to also teach them about money and investing. They each have Roth IRAs now, so they're set for life at this point.
Yeah.
And I know that's just a big advantage that I have to be able to allow that to happen. But it's just one of those things that's like, okay, like whatever I can do to help my kids and help, people, I try to do. Anyway, it's just a little tax strategy that came into play, and it's teaching them about what it's like to actually do what I do here on the YouTube channel. A lot of people think I just turn on the camera and it just magically appears, but there's a lot that goes on. Even the live streams, like yesterday, I was up for 2 hours packing all the winnings and making sure everybody got their addresses to me and all that stuff. And my kids are packing and they're helping with ideas and they're helping with filming and photography for thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. So it's been neat. And so like, a lot of people hear that and they're like, Pat, the IRS is going to get you. I got receipts.
Yes.
I got receipts, like I say.
I don't think you would have gone this far with your other businesses if you didn't have a good understanding of how to approach this and navigate the situation.
Yeah.
Again, welcome in everybody. I see Stephen Collin gifting the 5 memberships. Full Metal Energy in the building too, gifting those 5 memberships. Everybody else in here, Shiny Verde, I see you. All my mods, Tina Marie, Broly Pools. I see you guys. Clampy was in here. Ricky, Laura, Dizzy. Thank you guys so much for holding down the chat. I see you guys. I appreciate y'all being in here. Jeff, the ref. Odie opens.
Dude,
green tea.
Do I have your dude? Odie, this is your prize from yesterday, bro.
Let's go.
Let's go. What did you pull? Oh, we got you a Snorlax and you got a Mewtwo. Thanks for being a member, by the way. Anyway, sorry.
No, man. Feel free. Show anything you want to. Well, I won't say, but show any cards or anything you want to show. Kind of going into the live streams, when you first, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it took you didn't live stream right away. You kind of did that a little bit later on, correct? And then you just go in with the mindset like, okay, we're literally just going to be opening up a ton of cards and we're just going to be giving it away to people. Was there any like brainstorm behind that before you actually did any type of live streams, or was that just like always the go-to move?
The first live stream was, I believe, when we were celebrating 5,000 subscribers. So this was like early on. And we opened, I wanted to do something to celebrate because I was like, oh my gosh, this happened so quickly. So I got 36 packs of Generations in 2016. And I bought them on eBay for like, I think it was like $700 for 36 packs.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't even get close to that price.
It's a really good price.
And we opened it up, and it was so much fun. We had a lot of people live. I had been live before, but on my other channel.
Right.
In 2020, I went live for 365 days straight. So I knew how to manage a crowd online. I knew how to use the deck and all that stuff, like all the fancy cameras and things. But I'd never done it with Pokemon, so I was pulling a lot of inspiration from other PokeTubers, but kind of putting my own spin on it. And it was so much fun, dude. It was like just the energy and the rush and. I knew that we needed to find a way to kind of get these people to know who the winners were. So there was a website called gleam.io that I used in another project where, people would put their name in, but there were also more entries if you shared it. We got away from that because it just got too weird and not a lot of people had Instagram or Facebook, in this audience. So I just scrapped that and borrowed from Royalty Gaming Pokemon in the way that he did his raffles, which were which was the Wheel of Names, and we're still using that. However, my entrepreneurial brain, just letting you're the first to learn this. I'm gonna drop this here. I'm working on a product, on a software.
Okay.
That helps me take care of these giveaways a little bit easier on my end and for your end, the viewer. I'm building that software. It doesn't exist.
Ooh,
so
okay.
I'm doing this every week. This sucks. I'm just going to build a solution. So you're the first to know. I'm not going to say the name yet. You'll learn about it. It's not going to be anything that requires payment up front or anything like that. But I see a problem. I want to solve it, especially if it's something I'm doing over and over and over again. So anyway, just a little fun tidbit.
No, that's awesome. That's a big, trying to fine tune that, I'm sure, especially for you too, trying to keep track of everything because there's just like so much to keep track of. Even me, like at a smaller scale like that, it can be, it can get overwhelming at times.
Yeah,
so,
I know you have like stream elements and other things. Like there are things that exist that can help take care of that stuff. But imagine it automatically sends an email asking for an address from the winner, right? Like right after, just because that's something I do every time and I do it repeatedly. Yeah. So I'm like, that's how you can create a software is what do you do again and again and again and again and again that you absolutely just loathe.
Yeah.
Build software for it. So that's where that comes from. So anyway, then we did the 10K stream. Then we did the 25K, and then the 50K stream. And then I was like, I love this live streaming situation. I get so much energy from it. Let's just go live every week. And eventually it became every Monday. And unless I'm traveling or sick or something, like, we've been pretty steady. And it's been amazing because it's just, a lot of there's this thing called a flywheel in business. And a flywheel is something that when it gets going, it just like continues to perpetually go, right? An example of a flywheel is, I'll buy a collection, right, from somebody, and I can film that.
Yeah.
And when I film that collection and I share it on video, YouTube ads generate revenue, and in many cases, the revenue from those ads pay for the collection.
Right.
So there's a flywheel there. Then I can go get another collection, create another video, pays for itself, and so that my collection has grown, kind of for free, if you will, in that way. Mm-hmm. But I don't want or need most of the cards that are there, so I'll pick the Houndooms out, and, a couple Pikachu promos,
the Silver Dialgas.
Silver Dialgas, if there's any of those, for sure.
You're cornering the market on that, man. I see you picking them all up. I mean, I love it.
They're so hard to grade. Any Silver Dialgas that I've found in any binders or anything always come back not a 10. I mean, it's one of the hardest cards to grade.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets even cooler. So that, again, flywheel, it just goes. But I can take those cards that I got from these collections and I can just give them away.
Yeah.
And give them away on a live stream. And that attracts a lot of people, which then brings more members in, which then YouTube ads are on top of that. Then I can take that money pool, get an even bigger collection, and just do the cycle again.
It's that Mr. B strategy and how he started, like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now I need to have a candy bar company and Squid Games, Pokemon set.
Pokemon Squid Games. When are we doing this? All right, Card Party Gen 2, Gen 3 is just gonna be Squid Games, guys. If you want to show up,
I have so many ideas, man. Can you imagine?
Your brain hurts sometimes. You're like, I gotta stop. I gotta take a second.
Oh, it'd be so fun. It'd be so fun. But no, the live streams are fun. I love. Again, I know not everybody can go live and entertain in the way that I can. I don't want to sound cocky, but that is a unique advantage that I have, having gone live over 1,000 times in my other business. Mm-hmm. And so I can comfortably go live while experimenting and trying new things. And I'm not going to share any news, Dan. Don't worry. I like to share things ahead of time, but I'm not going to share that. But Dan and I are working on something to take the live streams to a whole nother level in the near future. And whenever that happens, that'll happen. But I just love the idea that like we can just kind of make a person's day live. I mean, it's so much fun and it's exciting. And I remember when I literally got laid off in 2008. I discovered a website called ProBlogger in 2009.
Jeremy that wasn't Jeremy.
No, that was Jeremy and Jason. This is Darren Rouse from
okay.
Australia.
Okay. Oh, okay.
ProBlogger.net. And he had a blog about blogging, very meta. And he would share a lot of really helpful information. I was a fan of his. And back then there was a thing called Ustream, I think it was. And he went live in Australia. I stayed up until 2 a.m. so I could watch him because I just wanted to see him live. And live was a big deal back then. It wasn't really popular. So he went live. It was all choppy. It was like 480p. And you can ask questions. And the whole night went through. He never answered my question until the very end. Mm-hmm. He said, all right, and for the final question, this is Pat Flynn from San Diego. It was 3 a.m. I had never felt so much excitement. I just woke up right then because a guy from Australia who I was a fan of called my name, and I felt seen. I felt heard. He answered my question. It was the most amazing feeling, and I still remember that feeling. And that's what I imagine people on the other end when I can call their names. And now the fact of the matter is I cannot mention everybody's name here or in my channel at the same time because there's thousands. But just that connection, it's so important. Community, the connection is key. And as this world goes into more of an AI world where there's robots and other things, we as humans are going to crave connection even more. This is why Card Party is what it is, and it exists. This is why the live streams exist and why the membership in our Discord exists. It's because those are the things that are going to really make us feel human, make us feel heard, make us feel like we belong. Yeah. That's why I love what you're doing here. I want to do more stuff in just the San Diego and SoCal area together with our crew that's over here because it's such a good group of people. It's all about the people.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always a nice little, you get the adrenaline rush anytime right before you're about to go live. It's a different rush than you get versus when you drop a video. I feel like the video is more of like, you know, looking at it, seeing, like, I know you guys change the thumbnails at times, like seeing where you guys could tweak it after the fact. But I think with like the live streams, it's just such a bigger adrenaline rush. You see people coming in chat, you're just like, oh, okay, here we go. We're about to have a good time, you know, and have, you know, I can't wait to be a part of this and say hi to everybody that's been in here, just, you know, continuously supporting and showing love. Like everybody in here right now, 104 people in chat. Thank you all so much.
I see you, Baze.
I thank you guys. You know, usually when we're doing the opening streams, we are more engaged with chat, but I do definitely want to get, you know, the most out of Pat while he has his time here. So I see you guys. Thank you all so much. Ash, welcome in. Pokey Dude, it's me, Edwin, son of a Merc in here. I saw his comment earlier. He said, name for chocolate for Pat, deep pocket chocolate. Kind of rolls off the tongue. That's, you know, you never know.
Chocolate,
yeah.
Deep chocolate.
Deep
misinterpreted though, so I'm not gonna.
He said, we're gonna roll with a different direction there.
I don't want chocolate in my pockets. Sorry.
Oh man.
Juice. You know, we had talked about getting so Miltank has become like this
sleep the mutters.
Accidental like mascot of the channel, right?
Yeah.
You know, get like Miltank. We had talked about like, okay, like Mr. Beast has his candy bar, you know, Ludwig has his bidet.
Yeah.
What if we did like milk jugs, like Moo Moo milk, right? And it's got me into like, okay, well, I can't obviously use Miltank without permission.
Yeah.
Can I license it? So I've gone down the route of already researching what it would take to license certain Pokemon, and you know, I would imagine, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I would imagine that Miltank would maybe be a little bit cheaper than using a Pikachu, you know, on your products. And,
probably.
You know, so I mean, maybe a DPM Moo Moo milk with some extra protein for the kids' growths, and you know, we could compete with Pediasure for strong community.
You guys heard it here first. Moo Moo milk will be available at Card Party Gen 2. And not my words; those are Pat's words. So be on the lookout for some Moo Moo milk.
Yeah. It'll be in a giant milk tank, and you actually have to like, you know, squeeze the udders to get it out.
Instead of the card tossing, you're just gonna, all right, guys, who's next? Who's gonna squeeze the most milk out of the udders?
Right.
With the background music like that.
Yeah, right.
I was just saying, just, you know,
we could do it. It's a blank canvas. We could do whatever.
Anything. You run the show. You can do it. Like, all right, guys, bring in the udders. This is time. I love it. A Dizzy hippie on the daddy chill emoji. It's perfect. Yeah, just like this.
Daddy chill.
Again, all you guys in here, I hope you're enjoying your time with Pat, Deep Pocket Monster in here. Pat, let's the Sai duck. Let's kind of go into a little bit about Card Party. It was something that's, you know, I feel like there was a good amount of people within the community that had a lot of reservation about it. A skepticism about it, just because, like, okay, what is he really trying to do here? There's always, like, you know, with some sort of event like that, people always look at, like, there has to be some sort of underlying motive to this. And for you I kind of want to hear about the thought process. You know, why try to do this undertaking of such a massive event? And I know you went to Leonhardt's pop-up shop and kind of did, you know, a little research. And I remember, I forgot whose podcast you're on. Might have been OKJ Loves, that you were there. I think Dan was there. Was Dan there with you as well on that one? Or
Dan was there with me.
And you guys were kind of like
with Rev and Real Breaking Nate, for Danny. And we weren't there to like, hey, we're gonna run an event. And
right.
Scout. It was actually very inspirational. It was like, wow, like, this is magic. Like, Leonhardt, from scratch, put all these people in the same room and, like, made stuff happen out of nothing. And that was incredible. And the people I talked to there were like, we don't get to do this. This is awesome. That's why it was so popular. And yes, there's reviews that came out that maybe, like, the lines were too long or whatever. And, you know, those are mental notes that we took. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, he pulled off something that really had never been done before in the community, a different kind of event, right? Not just like
especially by one person, just like a single person. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, man, he dropped so much on that, and a lot of people think he like made out like a bandit, but like honestly, he put so much product into that to make it happen. It's kind of ridiculous. So I was like, okay, well, you know, is he going to do it again? And he didn't do it again, and you know, I was like, oh, this is kind of a shame because you know each year it could get better and better.
Yeah.
And I think this is obvious. The people want to come to things like this to be able to connect and chat and.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are events that happen that are great, but they're mainly for people who want to buy, sell, trade, and they're in giant convention halls, and I've been to those, and those are fantastic for those purposes. But especially for an introvert like me, I go to those, and then I'm like, I get my cards, and then I kind of leave and just go back to the hotel room. There's no activities where you are almost like put in a position to connect and chat in a very organic way. So I connected with a team of people who I've worked with before in my business side of things. These guys put on an event called Podcast Movement. And they actually approached me because they were like, Pat, when's your next business event? You ran one before the pandemic. Are you going to come back and do events again? And I just gotten back from Leonhardt's thing, and I was like, I kind of have an idea. Like, what if we did an event for the Pokemon community?
Yeah.
Like, wait, where is this coming from? You're doing Pokemon? So I showed them the channel, and they're like, wow, this is really neat. Like, people show up to the live streams. What if you brought people in person? I mean, this is literally a chapter out of my book, a way to bring your community together is a way to enhance your brand and serve the audience of people is to actually create a space for them to connect with each other so that, you know, it's not just you, the creator, talking to them and them talking to you. It's those people who have a connection, an identity, a common thing, being able to find and connect with each other. So we ended up creating that. And the Podcast Movement team is so good at putting on business events that are so organized, great registration, super skilled in that fashion, but like the business events are kind of boring. And I was like, okay, let's take that mold, but let me pour the Pokemon on top of it.
Yeah.
And let's make this like that's why at Card Party there's like, okay, there's the main stage because on those business events that's where the keynotes happen. But we're not going to do a keynote presentation. Let's bring out everybody's favorite creators on there and let's just have fun and play games. Right. And then there's a vendor hall, which people would expect. But then there's the meet and greet area. There's activities going on. There's like tournament area. There is like just any ideas we had. Hey, like we have a bunch of bulk cards. Let's create an area where people can just put their bulk or take their bulk, kind of like a give a penny, take a penny kind of situation. That was super popular. Some of my trick shot videos went viral. So let's set up an area to throw cards. Like, that's weird. But let's do it anyway. And people just had such a good time. And what people said at the end was like, man, I had no idea it was going to be like this. We had people who showed up and were like, oh, I don't want to leave. Like, I got to drive home. I wish I knew it was like this or else I would have stayed at the hotel. And I completely understand why people had reservations about this because it was completely new. And it's like, who's this guy? He just came into the space. Like, yeah, he has some business experience, but like, what if he brings us all there and starts like selling stuff to us?
Yeah.
And I was just like, you don't know until you go.
Right.
And I'm just that's why I'm so grateful for everybody who came to first edition and all of you in the audience right now watching. Thank you so much for trusting us to put on an event. And it was very much a gamble. It was a risk. But I like going through life taking like bets with good cards, right? Like you could be really good at poker and still lose, but as long as you over time place the best bets that you can, then things are going to work out. And I said, you know what, this is a good bet to take. It's going to be expensive, and we definitely did not profit the first year. In fact, we were under by over 6 figures. A lot of people think we like are this giant company with a lot of money to spend. No, we're in the whole 6 figures, and it's going to take typically 3 or 4 years for an event to get in the green. But you know, so I wanted to thank everybody who came, who trusted us to put on a show. A lot of people said it felt like camp, right? And that was the best compliment, that it felt like camp, and they couldn't wait to go to camp next year to see their friends and participate in this. That is something nobody says about Collecticon. I love Collecticon. I go to Collecticon. It's the best place to go buy, sell, trade, but it does not feel like camp. This feels like camp.
There is a huge difference because I've been to a Collecticon before over here in Long Beach, and Card Party. It was just, for me, it was night and day as far as wanting to be there, wanting to stay there, not wanting to leave. I had to drive back home because, you know, I live close enough that I was like, okay, I'm just going to drive home. But, you know, in hindsight, I'm like, okay, I kind of wish I would have stayed there to hang out with my friends, but it really felt like something more than just your like normal convention. It felt like it was like meeting my family like that. I've been able to be around in this space for the longest time, meeting all the other creators, meeting like some people that are like, hey, I watch your channel. I'm like, you watch my channel? Like, I'm about to cry right now, you know, like it, and you put it on and you made every creator feel like they are somebody. And that's a very difficult thing to do. It's very difficult to have everybody feel like they are appreciated or like they are welcome. And I mean, I remember you kind of in I think it was in Superfans where you kind of talking about the Walker Stalker, podcast that they turned into a convention, right? And I feel like that's like kind of where you started to inherit like what aspects you would like to see within some sort of convention and kind of where you got ideas. And I mean, I'm sure that gravitated into FlynnCon, which then, if you guys don't know, he has put on other conventions prior to Card Party. It wasn't his first go around. It just was his first go around with Pokemon. It's kind of a different, it's different, but at least you kind of have some sort of outline. And then I'm assuming you got these different aspects and put it into Card Party, and then you kind of just like added in all the additional Pokemon elements to it. How hard was it to get all the creators on board? Like, okay, did you reach out to like any of the creators? Like, because as much as we are all appreciated by the community, there are other creators that are like they're just bigger names. It's difficult. They got things to do. They have families. They have to keep up their business on their end. So like as far as like Nick, for Ando coming in all the way from Australia, Real Breaking Nate, those guys. Was it like how long in advance did you reach out to them to see if they would want to be a part of this?
I mean, probably 6 or 7 months prior. As soon as possible, really, because the way that the event was thought about and the way I structured it is I wanted the creators to be the hero of the story. It's not about me, and it's about the creators that we all watch every day and know. I largely base it off of what we saw at VidCon. VidCon is a conference that brings a lot of like the bigger YouTuber names like MatPat and those kinds of people. And then they have like their fans and they get to meet them. But like there was none of that for we aren't that big to have access to our crowds at a VidCon like that. But what if we created the VidCon but for Pokemon? So I reached out to Rev and a few others, and they I just pitched them on the idea. I actually made like a little slide deck in Canva.
Okay.
And I treated it as if I was pitching an investor.
Got it.
Because I knew that these amazing creators, we weren't going to be able to pay them. At least not the first year. There's goals to make that happen. But again, we were under the first year, just to kind of set the tone and try to make that happen. But I pitched them because they were going to be investing their time, and time is even more important than money in many cases. But I also pitched it like, well, what's the benefit for these creators? Well, they get to see their friends, just like you talked about. Right? The people that they know and they connect with online. This is a space where they can come and hang out and be with each other for collaboration ideas or just to kind of see each other. B, the sponsors are going to be there. You need a connection to some companies to potentially have ads on your brand deals or sponsorships or whatever. Like, we'll make those connections for you. So that's of massive value to them. But the biggest thing is a lot of these creators work so hard to get in front of these audiences and build their name. Like, what better way to do that than in person with literally the people who watch your stuff? And this is the first time a lot of those even bigger creators were able to meet in person their fans and sign things for them and see what that really felt like. Now, I got to say, they were put to work. I mean, they did so much more than I had ever anticipated they would do. And even like guys, that's like no. Like, there's more people who we need to connect with. There's more signatures, and it's like, wow, okay. So year 2, let's make sure we have a better handle on how much their time is used and utilized, because that was a lot. I mean, even like Danny Phantom was out past midnight trading with kids on the floor.
That's great. I seen him in that lobby.
Line was insane. Yeah, so what we'll have, and we're working on like a meet and greet ticketing kind of system to be able to manage that better and just make sure that our creators are taken care of, because they're the heroes of the story, and that's really important to us. But not only are the big names important, but the smaller names. And I knew this was probably the most well executed part of my master plan, if you want to call it that. Was okay, we'll feature the big ones. That's what they expect, and I'm so grateful for all the big names to come because they didn't have to.
Right.
But the lower level, less subscribed podcast or Pokemon channels, I was like, you know what? If we put them in the same rooms as the big names, if we put their name on the website next to the bigger names, I guarantee that they're going to finally feel like they got recognized.
Yeah.
They should be recognized. They deserve it. It's like a subscriber count is just a number. You still are helping people around the world. You still have viewers and you still have fans and loyal people. And I remember, gosh, who was it? Patter TCG came out to me. He was like, my parents were so proud when I showed them that my picture was on the website. Like, that's an official thing because you are going to be there. You have fans. You deserve to be up there too.
Yeah.
Right? And we're going to try to get more of the creators on like a stage and getting more recognition. It's a great place to not just meet new fans and meet other creators, but get inspired and collaborate. That was so cool. And my hypothesis was that if we celebrate even the smaller creators, that there's probably a good chance that they will actually promote Card Party more than the bigger creators. And that absolutely came true.
That's what happened.
For the bigger creators. And one thing that we do at Card Party is we don't ask anybody to do anything in terms of promotion. We want the event to be so exciting that it just promotes itself in an organic way. And the bigger creators did post and they said where they're going to be, and that is awesome, and we're grateful for that. But it was the smaller creators who were like, guys, I'm going to be at Card Party in a couple weeks. Like, I hope to meet you there. And every day posting and showing what they were packing and showing like the cards that they were bringing to trade. And then at the event, sharing it like way more than the bigger creators. And that was so cool. That's of massive value to Card Party and the brand and the community. Honestly, it's those, I know a lot of people who came to Card Party not knowing what to expect, who came away bigger fans of the smaller creators because those people were making time for those people. Again, not to say the bigger creators weren't; they were just swarmed. So again, just that's where we're coming from with this. Like, and we're learning. We know that the bigger creators need some big bodies around them to keep them safe, right?
Right. I don't know if Ryan needs a big body next to him. He's pretty big already. Ryan is massive.
Well, he is kind of like Rev's bodyguard, though, when you think about it.
This is true. What's funny? I walked over to where the card throwing was going, and he was there in a full sweat, just going ham. I was like, oh, okay, he's going hard. I see him. It was one of the funniest things.
For CTR, basically.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, we just removed the faces from the foam, if you will. But no, I mean, again, celebrating the creators, making them the hero of the story, giving value to them, even though we couldn't pay them. We wanted to provide as much value to them in connection, in access to the sponsors, and just to be there with their audience and create that space to make that happen in a safe way. And then the thing that really surprised me was a lot of the vendors. Like, the vendor spots sold out, and we had this cool little expo hall convention thing going on, and a year back later, it's like the vendors came back, were like, they were like, Pat, I go to these events all the time. I've never sold more product than I just did at Card Party. Like, these vendors who go to these things all the time saying that this was actually really profitable for them. That was a bonus. I did not expect that to happen. Right.
That's something that you can't really control as far as what people are going to buy. They're already there. And you had mentioned that on the initial Card Party Gen 1, there weren't as many. There was a little bit more skepticism on the sponsorship side. Was there skepticism like on the vendor side too? Was it difficult to? You said you weren't expecting to sell out that vendor hall originally.
I had no idea what was going to happen. I wasn't expecting it to be the most profitable event some of these vendors ever vended at. That's what was unexpected.
Got it.
Again, we worked as hard as we could to go with the connections we had. We worked with a few companies and that had access to different vendors that could convince them to try this out. And it worked really, really well. I mean, like stuff was flying off the shelves, and it's funny. A lot of the parents of kids who were there, like a lot of parents were like, "Okay, fine, for your birthday, for Christmas, we'll get tickets to the card party," and then they leave, becoming now a Pokemon collector themselves, and having spent thousands of dollars with these people because their kids were like, "I want that card. That's a good card," and like just like it's really cool to see the that the event was able to kind of even grow more of the community from the inside with some of these parents. And now a lot of these parents and kids have something to connect with, which is awesome. I'm just like, don't spend too much, like you need to get your card party 2 tickets. But,
I hear you, man. No, it was an amazing event, and we'll kind of like jump into a little bit about card party 2 as far as what you can reveal and talk a little bit about expectations. Dan, I know you're in here. Don't let him reveal anything that's not out there yet, unless he really wants to. We're not going to clip it at all. Don't worry about that. But first, let me make sure.
I want to share everything.
But first, we're going to make sure I read off a couple more of these milestones, super chats. I appreciate you guys again. Thank you so much for being in here, hanging out. Let Pat get a little bit of his moo milk right there. Here we go. We're going to start off with Tyler Reagan at $1.49. Appreciate you. The super chat, super sticker, a little hot dog. I see you, Tyler. Get You in the building said, Westside Poke Connection. Hey, Get You. That was my first collab too. Shout out to my man Genshu in the building, aka Get You, member for 11 months. Harles on the 12-month membership, 1 year hype, dude. Thank you so much, Harles, on the 1 year milestone. Appreciate you. Adam P opens. Hey, shout out to the Australia, my Aussie fam. Absolute treat watching you two chat. Thank you so much, Adam. Stephen Kahn on the 5 gifted. Appreciate you, Stephen. Shout out to my mods. Full Metal Energy coming in here on the 5 gifted. Shout out to Full Metal Energy. If you guys, he created so much artwork for Card Party Gen 1. Make sure you guys check him out. Awesome guy. Fella Chris on the $5 super chat as well. Surge, it's on site. Ooh, Fella Chris and Surge they're fighting. Ooh, there they are. Plaqued in the frame.
In the frame. Uncut sheets. Stolen from the factory. Not really. These are the cards that were designed by several different artists in the community. That's another thing that I knew was going to work really well, was if we bring some of the art and the talent from the community in here. So we got Kim and Pokemon and a few others, Rubik's, and of course a lot of Gavin's stuff as well. Gavin designed the Card Party logo, but he was also the one that put these together. Gavin has one of these as well. And this is 10 cards, if you will. I think that's 10, including the secret rare. We're going to have 12 cards this next Card Party. We're getting more artists involved. We're going to have another secret rare. We're going to try some full arts as well. So that's something I can share now that hasn't been shared yet. And we're going to do a better job of looking back. I'm like, okay, it's obvious why this popped off at the event and people wanted to collect all these, because it's Card Party. People collect cards and it's the first one. But we didn't do a good job of sharing which ones there were and kind of how to get them. We were just like, they're out there, go find them, and people were confused. So we're gonna have like a booklet that should, like, okay, here's where you can get this one. You can get this one at the primary sponsor table. You can get this one by doing this. You can get this one by. This was a fun little way to activate certain parts, right? So when people finally heard that, oh, you can get one if you do a trick shot, they're like, what's a trick shot thing? Oh, go over there. And people were helping people go find them. That was really cool. So that's another thing we're going to do. The Vault X crew, shout out to them, Vault X Binder company from the UK. They're going to play a bigger role this coming year, which is really awesome. We're going to have another Card Party binder created by them, which is great. A little 4-page or 4 card per page binder.
Nice.
But last year they brought, you might remember this from the hallway, there was a little crane machine.
That
had like Pokeballs in it. And dude, there was like a line for like an hour and a half.
It was loaded in that crane machine. That's why I saw.
It was totally loaded. But we're gonna expand on that. We want to create something what we call the Cardcade. Not arcade, but Cardcade. So imagine several of those, and maybe some pinball machines, or just some regular arcade machines there too. But my brain works like this. What would be the most amazing way to make a cardcade? And so immediately I start drawing out this schematic for, what if we have like a Dave & Buster's in there? There's all these games. You can win tickets. You can redeem the tickets for packs or plushies at the counter. And it's like, whoa, Pat. That's way too complicated. Like I had a conversation with Tim Ferriss one time, And he really helped me out. He's been a mentor of mine for a while, and I helped him start his podcast back in the day. But he presented this question to me that I always use, and you're welcome to take this and use it in your own life too, because we always tend to overcomplicate everything, and that's at least a problem I have. If this were easy, what would it look like? I use that question all the time to simplify and to get to the result faster. So this coming year, we'll have a cardcade. We'll just have more of those vending machines available. It was already a hit in year one. We can inch our way toward the Dave & Buster's kind of situation into the future. Because if we were to go all out with that, it would take away from energy that we could put into another part of the event, right? So if this were easy, what would it look like? If it wasn't weird to tattoo that on my forehead, I would do it.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned that too, because I have a tendency to kind of overcomplicate things too. And then after I'm done with everything, I'm just like, I could have just done this, this, and this, and it would have been perfectly fine. Just got to relax sometimes, get ahead of ourselves at times. But, you know, it's good to have somebody in there to be able to kind of bring you back down. Like, okay, let's simplify it a little bit. There's a lot going on. Who is that? Wait, so you said Tim is that person in your life, right? Or is he?
Yeah, Tim Ferriss.
All right. What about, I feel like Dan is another person as far as like the videos go. Does he ever like, hey, Pat, let's dial it back. How about we do this and this and this?
All the time. All the time, dude. That's his job, is to, there's actually a book out there called Rocket Fuel. And this book talks about the relationship between two people that work really well in a company together to launch it to the stratosphere. Again, it's called Rocket Fuel. The relationship is between a visionary and what's called an integrator. The visionary is the big idea guy or gal. Right? They go big. They dream big, and it's important to dream big because that's how you go further, right? If you just stayed in your little comfort zone, you wouldn't go anywhere. So that's the dreamer. But we need the integrator who goes, okay, but if we do that, it's going to cost this much. It's going to require this many people. It's going to do like the spreadsheets person, the operator who's behind the scenes, right? And then you go, okay, well, like, what can we do? Let's kind of meet in the middle and figure out where we can go and still progress, but not go crazy and lose everything. So I have an integrator in my entrepreneurial business because, again, I'm a visionary. I dream. I go big. I go huge.
Yeah.
But, Matt, my CEO of my other company, he is that person who.
Let's bring it back a little bit.
Dan is definitely that for me as well. But Dan is also a visionary too, which is awesome. He has that unique ability, so he's able to come up with ideas and then bounce them off of me, and I bounce off of him. And I think the biggest lesson here is that, like, when coming up and brainstorming with stuff, like, you got to turn that editing part of the brain off when you're in the brainstorming mode, because a lot of us will immediately go, oh, that's not a good idea. Oh, that's not going to work. No. You never know until you lay it all out there, see the sea of things that you could potentially do, and then make connections that you wouldn't have otherwise because you already deleted them before. So when it comes to like brainstorming and coming up with ideas, like, I literally put in my calendar, this is when we brainstorm this, and that, like, nothing else enters my brain at that point other than just like, let's do it ugly first.
Yeah.
That sounds weird when you say it that way. But that's what I learned. Like, you got to say it ugly. If you're gonna do a presentation, say it ugly first before you say it in front of others, right? So you practice at home, you say it ugly, you get the stuff out that shouldn't be there, and then you present it, and then it becomes the end result. So anyway, I'm dropping a lot of life lessons here, it seems like, but
that's fine. I think that's great. Pokemon. Yeah, you could integrate so many different aspects and talk about. We just went on from car party to life lessons, guys. A little tidbit. The more you know. Just like that, the more you know. All right, so I did want to talk. I was going to talk about card party gens. Well, we were a little bit, kind of, a little bit. Cardcade.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Orlando.
new. That's new. Orlando.
Hotel. Dude, the hotel is sick, man.
How many times did you go over there to scout?
So I only went once. The team went. The scouting team. We have a scouting team that goes around to look at spaces. Right?
Okay.
Because we wanted to try to keep that same feel that Card Party 1 had, which was like, it's in its own contained space. It's like a home base, and it's like a cruise. You go, and it's like, that's where you're at until you dock at the end. And, we weren't on a cruise, but hey, maybe a Card Party cruise one day.
Green Tea just said that. Literally just said that right now in the chat. Green Tea said Card Party Gen 3 cruise.
Oh, dude, you did say that. Oh my gosh, Green Tea. Smart minds. so I only went once. We did this fun thing where we like teased the reveal. I totally even forgot we did this, but we went there, we filmed, and I was dropping clues on my Instagram of like the pattern of the carpet, and then freaking some people go and try to like investigate. Oh, that must be a Hilton or a Marriott because they use this kind of color in their carpet, and it's just really fun. Like I was kind of messing with everybody. And then eventually we filmed the video that was revealed live, and then we kind of made it special, like an Apple keynote kind of reveal, right? And that was really cool. Another way that we could differentiate and kind of create hype around the event, and that, yeah. Thanks, Julie. I appreciate that.
Oh my God, it's PokeRev.
So Card Party 2 is at the Hilton Orlando. It's a much bigger hotel.
Okay.
There's a lot more space. The convention area and the place will be much bigger. The expo hall is going to be bigger. The main stage bigger. We're shooting for 5,000 people.
Nice.
That's twice as many as last year.
Wow.
Which is insane.
Wow.
To think about. So there's that. There is an epic outdoor pool area with a lazy pool that goes around the whole thing. There's a basketball court there. There's a splash pad for the little ones. And it's just a much better setting, I feel like. It worked last year, but I think it's going to work even better this year. So much so that like it might become the home of Card Party.
Nice.
We'll see. But then we got to go. Well, what about the West Coast people, right?
Right.
So we're talking 2025, trying to decide. Maybe it's middle of the country. I don't know. I'm not going to share until I know exactly what's going to happen. So. Orlando is also much more convenient for people coming in, flying in. More flights go there, and it's like 10 minutes to the hotel.
Right.
Versus, I know some people were flying into LAX and were like, Uber for an hour and a half.
They don't realize that on the West Coast, there's a lot of driving that you have to do, and in traffic too, especially the East Coasters. You guys, public transportation is not very good around here unless you just want to take the bus, but you're still going to be stuck in traffic for a long time. There's no subways, or I guess the metro. The metro.
And basketball. I mean, I saw that you called me out, bro, on your stories at one time, and I wouldn't be lying if I said I went to a basketball court to try to do a behind the back shot, and I never published it because I couldn't do it. But to respond to that, but no, there will be a basketball court there. It is something that a lot of us have talked about, and maybe it's like a creator/charity event or something that happens even before Card Party. We're trying to figure out what that might look like, but ideally, again, think big. Imagine there was a basketball stadium that had fans of our favorite creators, playing against each other. Just like I think there's something similar in the world of YouTube for football or soccer. Where, iShowSpeed and Mr. Beast will all play soccer against each other.
Right.
What if there was that for creators? And we have this really cool thing that we did at Card Party 1 that we will be bringing back again. It's the point system. The point system. You get placed on a team. Last year it was red versus blue. So Gen 2 is now gold versus silver. And so you'll be placed on either Team Gold or Team Silver. You'll have different creators representing those teams and battling each other on stage in various games. But we do want to have more ways for attendees to affect the score as well. We had like a couple ways last year, and just, again, experimental, micro experiment, and it worked really well. So we're going to find other ways to get people involved and have a prize for the winning team. And actually hopefully have it there so we don't have to ship it out like we did this year.
It was just a lot. It took a lot of time to get those printed up, huh?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
the lead time must have been crazy.
They weren't hollow. They were supposed to be hollow, but they weren't. They misprinted them.
Got it.
And so, we got the hollow versions. And again, thanks to Gavin for designing those. But it almost made it feel like a little bit of a Hogwarts situation, right? It's like what house are you in, and like let's earn points for the team, and it was another flavor added to the event that was a differentiator, and also for a way to feel like there was something at stake.
Well, that tapped into the community aspect of things too. You're trying to connect the people as much as you can while you're there, just tapping into that community aspect of Pokemon, which is another thing that other larger events just don't do, like Collecticon.
Yeah. Redstone and some others heard my dog. They were like, why are you still out?
Can I pet that dog? Said Stephen Kangaskranz. Can we pet that dog? I'm looking forward to this next year. Well, this year coming up with a Card Party. I know literally everybody who went last year is just over the moon, super excited about being able to attend the event. I know Tina Marie was in here earlier. Tina, you're in here still, dropping the link to where you can actually get tickets to Card Party. So appreciate you, Tina, for doing that. Yeah, man.
Sell tickets. I'm just
I know, but I'm here to sell tickets for you because I want everybody to go there. I want everybody to be able to experience that. Just because, I mean, I had an amazing time, and I know pretty much, not pretty much everybody that I talked to had a really great time too, man. So Thanks, and I just want to say I'm telling you, I gotta step my game up, guys. What the hell? And you know, just going. Taking on that responsibility of putting something on like that and just executing it to a T, and being able to grow and make it even bigger this year. You already did that, and you've said before you're selling like double the amount of tickets at this point than you guys did last year.
At this point in time, 100 and some odd days before the event, which sounds scary to say it that way, we are like 3 times more tickets sold than we were last year. We are at almost capacity at the hotel.
Wow.
At this point, we're actually researching a backup or what we call an overflow hotel for people that's nearby. The vendor space is almost sold out. VIP tickets are almost sold out. It's pretty crazy. So we're expecting a lively event for sure. It's what we're planning for. But I do want to say this here, like, we're going to make mistakes. It just happens, especially when you're trying new things and experimenting and always wanting to up your game. But we know at least at the core level what this event means to people and what should happen. And we want to make sure we definitely take care of those people who are taking time and spending money to go to this event. It's not a cheap thing to go to. That I got a lot of flack from people in the beginning prior to Card Party 1 because they were like, hey, CollectCon costs this much, but Card Party costs this much.
Yeah.
You don't even have Vanilla Ice at your event. And I'm like,
that's where
you need Vanilla Ice at your event to have a great time, then this is not the event for you, right? So no offense to Vanilla Ice, flow like a hawk both daily and nightly.
Little ice baby over here. Never heard nobody.
Stop, I don't know. But yeah, we're gonna make it fun, dude. We're gonna make it fun, and the biggest thing is just like we want people to have a good time, and if there's something that we can do to help you, we're gonna be there for you. We have an amazing team, and we're gonna make the next one better, and just continue to evolve this. And then the last thing I'll say is a lot of people are like, Pat, dude, this is huge. Like you could make this a 50,000 person event if you wanted to, right? And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. It would completely change the feel. It would morph into something like a Collecticon at that point, and Collecticon owns that space. I don't want to compete with Collecticon. We have to stay in our lane, and we need to continue to have it feel like that community specific centric thing that focuses on the creators there. We've had a lot of voice artists get interested in coming, and they're like, okay, hey, could I set up a booth there? We want to pay for autographs for our booth. And I'm like, tell me about your Pokemon collection. And they're like, well, I don't really collect. Okay, well then maybe this isn't the event for you. And I'm not saying like we'll turn them away. Like I'm saying like, hey, come to the event, just enjoy it. Like you don't have to work.
Yeah,
this isn't that kind of event. And again, as long as the creators are safe, like we can keep it the way it is. I mean, their safety and getting value from the event is of utmost importance to me. I hope it doesn't get to the point where we have to eventually put them behind like a red velvet rope the whole time, and like like the fact that they're walking around in the hallways and like because they are just like people like us is the cool thing. But if it grows too big, that won't be happening.
And I think it's just that balancing act of being able to try to keep what your vision for the actual event was in the first place. And it's tough, I can imagine too, because as much as you would want to scale up, you can never increase something without taking away. I feel like there's always something that kind of goes down to a detriment. Pat, I mean, I would love to have you in here for 3 more hours, but I want to be respectful to your time. So I want to be, I want to do a couple questions. We had a Q&A, I put a Q&A set up, so I want to be able to read off some of the questions. In here first, Ian with Ian. I swear this is not rigged, guys. It just happened to be Ian with Ian. Shout out to Ian. How do you balance the family-friendly creators with the more adult-oriented creators at Card Party?
So before card party happens, I get on a Zoom call with the creators, typically in a group setting. This happened a couple times last year, and that's done for a couple reasons. Number one, I want them all to meet each other and just kind of get to know each other.
Yeah.
Number two, I want to set the tone and the expectation of this event. I want to set the tone that this is a professional event, and there's expectations, and there are rules that you should kind of follow because that is to the best of the community.
Yeah.
And so one thing I said last year was just like, please leave the drama at home. This is not the place for it. Every other creator is going, not every, but many creators are going to be there. They're going to be creating. You stir up some stuff, it's going to get out there really quickly. So
Yeah.
I would advise for you to do what you can to provide value to this audience.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people were worried about Ryan last year. They're like, dude, are you sure you want Ryan? He's going to cause a ruckus. He was the most generous person that you could ever imagine. I mean, he was handing out Fusion Strike packs to kids he had like thousands of them or hundreds of them.
So many.
He was involved, he was friendly, and he put any beef that he had with any other creator aside. He assured me, and Rev assured me, that there'd be no problems. Right?
Well, yeah.
So you know, that's the beauty of being involved in the community. I know what the dynamics, at least a little bit, are between certain people and creators who might be the ones that maybe you might want to worry about a little bit in terms of a family event. I can go and talk to them.
Yeah.
Is the president of CollectCon or Comic-Con or MegaCon doing that with their creators? Probably not. Right? That's a big advantage that I have as a member of this community.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then number two, if you know, I again, just if there are any people who could potentially cause problems, I'm going to chat with them and just kind of set that tone. And therefore, it's not on us anymore, right? If something happens, I can say, hey, I already talked to this person.
Yeah.
And it's not on us.
Yeah.
So again, that's a little bit. I mean, it's a little bit of. It feels like parenting a little bit. Right,
but,
with some of the, you know, with some of these, and I have kind of become the stepdad of the community.
So I've heard.
Yeah, but the family-friendly thing. I mean, we also don't want to tell a person who is normally themselves on their camera to go, you know, can you not be yourself when you're here?
Right.
That's wrong too. So we have moments or particular areas or rooms that have, you know, a little explicit mark on them. We had one of them last year as an experiment. It worked really well. I mean, we need to do a better job. One thing that we failed short of last year was preparing the panels to be the best panels they could be last year. So this year we're going to talk to certain panels and make sure that they know what's going on and like what topics are being spoken about. But, you know, a room with those people who typically provide content that's not necessarily kid friendly, we will let people know that this is when that's happening and where.
Yeah.
So that a person can be themselves, because it's not right of us to go, hey, we want you to be completely different when you're here. So that's that.
Gotcha. And it's not necessarily telling them they can't be them, but it's more like you said, talking to them first and making sure they understand the expectation, and you know, leaving it up to them to be an adult in the certain situation, knowing this is somebody else's event. A lot of people were telling me like, oh, there's gonna be problems. I'm like, I feel like that they have an understanding of, and I'm sure Pat talked to them, and I'm sure they have an understanding what the expectation is. So it's like, okay,
that's my role.
Yeah.
Or at least, you know, set that expectation. And the other part about this is many people who may be a certain way online because they are either keyboard warriors or whatever you want to call them. Like typically from my experience in different communities, like when that person's in person with other people and the community's there, like they're chill.
Yeah.
They're chill. Now we have to obviously, you know, make sure everybody's safe and all that stuff. Security is number one, and safety is important. So, you know, we have a lot of experience as an event team doing that, and we're going to continue to make sure that's the case moving forward.
Got you. Digi asks, what was the one thing in Card Party that didn't pan out the way you thought it would?
Dude, I had no idea that when we did the pack battles on stage, that we would have that moment where that Charizard was pulled.
I was mind blown. I was recording, right?
That was the best thing.
And I was like, no way. I jumped. I first of all, I was a grown man jumping out of his seat with children around me filming this. And I was like, oh my God, he pulled a Charizard. But
the guy pulled the Charizard from Team Blue.
Yeah.
And then a kid comes up and he's opening the base set pack, and the only card we like honestly, people were like, "Did you script that? Like you had to have scripted that." I'm like, I wish I was that smart to script it. I did not. And like TCG Player was there, and they're like, "Hey, like let's look at the spreadsheet. Oh, the only card that could beat the Blastoise is the Charizard."
Yeah.
And I made sure the DJ in the back played like that, like music leading up to it, just like to set the tone. And I was like, please, like. That's what I've learned as a creator is, especially while live, and that was live in person, but even live on a stream, giving yourself the opportunity for magical moments like that to happen is the name of the game.
Yeah.
It's totally the name of the game, right? That's why in my live streams, I'll have that like suspenseful pull music, and it's like, I turn black and white, and it's like, I don't know if this pack has the hit, but if it has the hit and I time it,
right.
I mean, it hits like 10% of the time, but when it hits,
I lie to my
it hits.
I lie to my chat all the time. I'm like, this is it, guys. And nope, it's just a freaking flapple or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Dan pointed out those packs were purchased well over a year prior to even Card Party being a thing. So I had those, but they came from Rusty actually.
Oh, okay.
But like that was the most magical moment I could have ever asked for. The room erupted. And kids, adults, boys, girls, everybody.
I think Sean almost broke his hip. I was like, he was jumping so much too, man.
Dude, if Sean didn't just say, it was rigged, as his like default reaction, it would have been perfect. No, I'm just kidding. That made it even more perfect. It was just like, so look out for more of those opportunities at Card Party 2. Gosh, I don't know if we'll ever get better than that, though. I mean,
that was a peak. That was, I don't know, man. You could, like you said, you couldn't have scripted it. It was wild. Yeah, it's not the NFL Full Metal Energy. He couldn't have scripted it.
I got to hook up with those writers because they can make it happen. So, no, and then like I said earlier, the panels kind of fell short a little bit. But also like the the big creators were on the main stage, and we did that thing, and a lot of the games worked out really well, which was really fun. One kid who punched the hole in that little thing, kind of like the Price is Right.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hole, like he cut his hand and it was bleeding, and thankfully, like he didn't make a big deal out of it on stage. Like we went back and took care of it, and thankfully everything was cool.
Yeah.
But what was also really cool was the smaller creators who were on the stage in the expo hall who were doing breaks, like Diz and Surge.
Yeah.
And, all those guys. Like, dude, they could work a crowd really well in person.
It kind of translates from the chat, but obviously in person in front of people is a lot different. But yeah, they were working it.
Dude, they were bosses, man. And so like we're gonna have that kind of thing happen throughout the entire day, right? That was just a few moments here and there, but we're gonna have kind of at all times creators in the expo hall on a stage, kind of cycling through, opening packs, connecting with the crowd that's there in person, and probably just giving most of it away. That way, all of you who normally live stream or do podcasts like this, you're just you're next to each other doing it and opening packs in person. Like that's probably the coolest thing that you get to do in front of people. That it's just like a live version of it, and you are all pros already. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. Two more questions, guys. And Pat, thank you again for your time for being in here.
Dude, of course.
We had, which one was it? Retro Pokey Gamer 17 said, what other cities were seriously looked at this year before Orlando was decided on?
So Retro, first of all, a super generous guy in the community. He's a big fan of DPM, and I'm a big fan of his. He actually came to me at Card Party 1. And he's like, Pat, I want you to give this away at some point during Card Party. And it was a binder full of hits, bro.
Okay.
So, Retro, you are so generous, and thank you. And I'll always remember that. And he and I continue to chat on Instagram. And he's got some great ideas as well for future Card Parties, too. A wonderful member of the community. But other cities we were looking at, we were looking at, West Coast cities. Just to see what was available. We looked at Dallas and other central. I know Gary V holds his event in Indianapolis, so that was an option because there's places there to hold events. But we also wanted something that would be a destination for families if they wanted to make a bigger trip out of it, right? And that's why LA and Anaheim was great because Disneyland was there, and there were a lot of families who made trips out of that. I know Danny Phantom was able to go to Disneyland for the first time because he came with his family to the card party, which was great. And then, of course, now we're hitting up the other Disney. So I don't know, maybe we just hit up, Disney Tokyo next or something. I don't know. Probably not. That'd be really expensive. Although that's Japan, home Pokemon. Maybe we do that.
Man, I didn't even get a chance to ask you about Japan. You got there two times in the past year. It'll have to be saved for another time, guys.
Oh man, dude, Japan is amazing. So amazing for so many reasons. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. But we also looked at northwestern United States. Portland, Seattle are all good options too. So we put our feelers out there, but we landed on Orlando because it was very family friendly, easy to get to, a little cheaper than Anaheim, but also bigger.
Yeah.
So we knew that we were going to be able to expand and into that really well. And we found a hotel, again, Hilton Orlando. You could see it on the Card.Party website. Universal Studios is there too, Pidgey, yeah, for sure. And just like when Dan and I visited and we went there to film the videos that we're going to be announcing it just felt really good. Like the vibe there was legit.
Yeah.
We're hoping that the weather, because the weather in Florida can be random, like it can be completely sunny and then 1 hour later it's raining and then the rain goes away and it's sunny again. We have access to what's called the promenade at this hotel, which is an outdoor space, a huge outdoor space with AstroTurf that you could do some fun things on.
Okay.
But if it rains, I mean, we have some plans for what we could do there. But that wasn't it.
Yeah.
Again, just more room to do things, right?
More space for activities.
More space for activities, yeah. More fun.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. This one right here is coming in from Pokey Dude, asking for myself. I dropped my first video yesterday, and I'm just looking for advice on what is the best way to keep people coming back.
Nice. So, first of all, that's the huge step in that first video. I mean, Jay, you remember that. I remember that. It's such a hard thing to do. When you're in the early days of your channel, I think the best advice I could offer you is just get those reps in. Don't worry about being perfect. Hit publish, go, and just experiment. That's your time to play and get dirty and figure things out. Get those reps in because, I mean, I had the pleasure on my other business to interview MKBHD, so Marquez Brownlee. 18 million subs now. He's just the world's most prominent tech reviewer, right? And when I interviewed him, he was talking about his early days. He said that his first 100 videos were for less than 100 subscribers. He was already at 100 videos before he even hit 100 subscribers. You look back at Mr. Beast's old videos too, where he's just doing weird things on Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
Like, he had less than 1,000 subscribers for years until he finally found his groove. So you're not going to know where your groove is or even your position in the space until you just keep creating. And you eventually, the beauty of YouTube is it's going to find your people for you, right? It's just going to take time. And of course, if you go into a little bit more of the strategy and tactics part, I call it the click and stick. Right? So there's a little bit of YouTube training as we go on the fly. Click and stick, 2 parts. The click is title and thumbnail. Title and thumbnail are probably the most important thing on YouTube, sometimes even more important than the video itself. Because if nobody's clicking on that video, the video might as well not even exist. Yeah. That sucks, but that's how it is, right? So the click is really important. So title, thumbnail, learning, getting inspiration from other channels, other niches as well. We got inspiration from creators like, obviously, Mr. Beast, but also Ryan Trahan, a lot of videos. Actually, one of the videos, my favorite one to talk about, is there's a guy named Louis Wentz. He's an engineer. He has a YouTube channel. And he just builds random things. And one video of his that went viral was one where he asked the question, can you cook a chicken by slapping it? Have you seen this video?
I've seen that.
Dude, you saw that video?
Yeah, I've seen that video.
Great thumbnail, great title. It's like, can you? That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But he starts the video. He talks about the fact that this is a question that people have asked for years now. It's on Reddit and all this stuff, and there's formulas. Like, technically, if you slap a chicken fast enough, it's going to cause enough friction, and it's going to cook. Right. But nobody's ever tried it. So he created the Meat Beater 3000. And to
pause.
He built this. Pause.
Oh, sorry.
Family-friendly show.
This is PG-13. We're good.
He built this thing, and I just said that, and now I'm doing this motion. This is going to be clipped, I'm sure. But he built this meat beater thing and was able to kind of show the results of that, right? And I was like, dude, that was such first of all, I didn't know that he wanted to even know the answer to that.
Right.
And number two, like I was hooked. I had to stay to the end because I needed to know what the answer was. But he had some beautiful ways of telling that story. So we created a video called "Can You Damage a PSA Card by Shaking It?"
Right. You made that out of
nearly
Legos. I'm surprised. I don't know how you did that. You're a freaking wizard with Legos.
I have a little Lego engineering background, but if you actually look at both videos, the parts of the story are literally the same. Setting it up based on research, building the test, trying it out, having the machine fail once, building a better machine, going and getting the answer, and then taking it to the extreme, just like Mythbusters do.
Right.
Literally followed step by step. But was it copying? No. It was in a completely different space. I put the Pokemon and PSA slab into that and was able to just follow a framework. Frameworks aren't trademarkable.
Right.
There's this thing called the hero's journey that is in literally every good movie that involves like a hero. It's the same exact thing from Princess Leia and to Katniss Everdeen, right? So anyway, we called it the Slab Shaker 3000. Not quite as dirty, but that worked. That formula for holding attention worked, but for the people who I was creating this video for, right? And that video went on to get hundreds of thousands of views, and it was really fun and different. It was one of those experimental videos. I want to do more experimental videos where we answer questions, but I kind of answered them all already. At least all the ones that most people were curious about. Can't get anyway. So that's an example. This is a long-winded answer, but I hope this actually provides inspiration to. There are other channels that have frameworks that work that you could borrow from and bring into a new space. Learning about telling. So the first part was click. Second part is stick. Good hook in the beginning of the video. Don't waste time welcoming people back to your channel, because if you want to grow, you're talking to people who haven't discovered you yet.
Right.
So if you are already starting your video with welcome back to the channel, you're deflating any growth that can happen, because you're basically saying, hey, this is for people who've already discovered me.
Heard that so many times. I feel like that was said in the Mr. Beast video before too. Like he might have mentioned that in the podcast or something, or maybe I listened to you. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's like, welcome back, guys. I'll say that on the live stream, but the video, it's like the first, what is it? The first couple seconds down. Now that the thumbnail automatically runs as you're scrolling through it. It's like such a different feel for that now too, right?
Right. I mean, when a person clicks on a video, when you think about it, you're promising something, right? If what they see immediately in the next 10 seconds is not related to that promise, then they're out.
Yeah.
And what happens is YouTube goes, oh, people who click on this video don't stick around. Why would they share it with anybody else? But if you can hook them and use retention strategies to keep them as close to the end as possible, YouTube goes, wow, people who watch this video stay. That's good for us, because when people stay on YouTube, YouTube makes money.
Yeah.
So if you can help YouTube by keeping people on your video, YouTube's going to help you, and they're going to give you free impressions with other people. And oftentimes you'll see like an explosion of impressions, and then it goes down, and then another explosion of impressions. That's YouTube basically going, oh, let's try this group of people.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't work so well. Oh, let's try this group of people. Wow, this group, this kind of profile, and people who watch these kind of videos love this video from Pat. Let's share it with more people. And that's how like the Evolving Skies video skyrocketed and took off. Anyway, we're getting a little into a lot of the
no, you're good. You're good.
YouTube,
I know that could be a conversation for that could be a long conversation. I remember talking to Dan after Card Party was done, and you were exhausted, ready to eat your pizza. Dude, such a long day for you, man. But you really live by what you say, and you try to shake everybody's hand and put that time out there for as many people as possible, like being here, whether, not necessarily mattering about the sub count. It's just trying to uplift the community and be there for everybody. So, man, I appreciate your time in here. Before I let you go, I'm going to make you sit here and listen as I read off super chats and milestones while we're in here.
All right. While you do that, can I open some cards?
Dude, open them up. I have something. Actually, guys, I got some stuff in here. I don't know if I could do this.
Whatever I pull here, Jay, I'm going to send to you so that you can give away on your next.
I appreciate you, man. Guys, watch as Pat pulls all the gold cards right here. All right, so fella Chris on the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, fella. Pokemon Fun on the 16-month membership. Let's go, Jay, doing big things. Hey, Pokemon Fun, appreciate you. Odie opens on the 2 months. Shout out to all the legends in here. Much love, Odie. Appreciate you. Kangas Krantz on the 10 gifted membership. Hey, it's Steven's Kangas Krantz's birthday today, guys, so wish him happy birthday, Steven. Appreciate you, Steven, on the 10 gifted. Jackalope plays on the $9.99. Great conversation. Loving this. Hey, love you too, Jackalope. Thank you so much, man. Pokevault, Sean said $1.99. Fake udders will be on sale at Card Party 2 for $49.99. You heard it here first on the channel. It's going to happen. We got Moo Moo Milk on deck. Polka Dad TCG said member for 2 months. 2 months. Let's go.
All right.
We're starting off like that. I see you. Thank you so much, Poke Dad. Get you on the 1 gifted membership. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, my guy. Get you right there. Make sure you check him out on his channel as well. Pidgey Boys. What's going on, Pidgey guy? $1.99 super chat. Pat, we appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Hey, man, that's the truth. And after that, too, he said, first time flying and first time out of state. Card Party 2 for Pidgey Boys. Whoo, okay, Pidgey. See you guys. Civic Minimum on the 5-month super chat. 5-month. I forgot my train of thought. 5-month gifted membership. Love everyone. Sub everyone. Hey, appreciate you, Civic. The Poke Factory on the $4.99 super chat, lurking while editing, but soaking it all in. Shout out to you guys. Hey, Poke Factory, thank you so much. Julio V said, OMG, is that Poke Rev? JK, much love. Hey, Julio, good to see you, man. Thank you so much. Just Josh on the $4.99 super chat said, Jay and Pat is quite a treat. Can't wait to hang with you all again in 4 months. Hey, Just Josh, man. Love you, bro. Shout out to my man, Just Josh, on the $4.99 super chat. Steven coming in here on the $5 pause super chat. Appreciate you, Steven. And Sven McDias, 7 already? Hey, 7 months. Thank you so much, Sven. Appreciate you, man. Everybody that's been in here. Pokemon TCG, I see you. Pokebro, I seen like all you guys in here. And as much as I wanted to interact with you guys, I just wanted to, what do we have right here? What do we have? Something? Oh, what a troll. Hey, we'll take it. But yeah, as much as I want to interact with you guys during the podcast, I want to get the most out of the guests that we get to have on the podcast, because time is a very valuable asset. And I appreciate Pat taking the time to be in here with, the Electivire.
I like this one. I like that one.
Love it. I love that the Electivire and the Magmortar have like two kind of not connecting artworks, but they're just like palling around in both of them.
The other one, they're in a cave, right? And they're like sitting by a campfire or something.
Yeah, huddled up in some snow. Pokemon Shed, appreciate you. Amazing stream, Jay. Thanks, DPMA Shed. Thank you so much for being in here. Louis Franco Jr., I see you, man. James and Elaine, I've been in here. Appreciate you, James. Kelly lurking in here. Appreciate you, Kelly. Karina, Inked Penguin, I see you. E-Man Collects. Shout out to EML Collectibles as well for the raid earlier. Shout out to my man Eddie Broski for the raid earlier as well. I see you guys. Stream was lit, Joey. Hey, Laura, appreciate you. Thanks so much for being in here. Casopia Daily Life. All you guys, Lucky Ancient Mew. Like I said, I wish I could tell you guys all the time how much I appreciate y'all. Tina Marie. Awesome stream, guys. Thank you so much, Tina. I saw your compliment earlier. Thank you so much. What is he doing?
We're going to add these into you.
Catch them all. I see you.
I'll send those to you.
Dude, Pat, thank you so much, man.
I got you, bro. I got you. Just kidding.
G.I. Joe. And on top of whatever Pat sends to me, I'm going to add some things too. So I do have... I'll send these out to you guys sealed. We have some dollar packs. Well, they used to be $1, but now we got a little bit more now. So I'll send these sealed to you guys. Some cosmic, and I think there's an Unbroken Bonds in there too. Dude, appreciate you so much, Pat. Out here, not even just.
This was an honor. Thank you so much for having me on, man.
Man, the pleasure is all mine. Lucky Ancient Mew on the 1 month. Thanks for sharing, Jay and Pat. Much love. Appreciate you, Lucky Ancient Mew. Nikki Nocturne said on the $2 super chat, can't wait for Card Party. Just finished the live stream. Hey, Nikki, thank you so much. Can't wait for Card Party as well. We need some Card Party hype down there in the chat. Whatever emojis. If you guys have membership emojis, throw some fire. If you don't have membership emojis, just freaking just go crazy with it. The emojis. Plebs said, been lurking. Thanks for the fantastic content, Jay and Pat. Hey, thank you guys so much. I said, we've been going strong with the podcast. I think this is podcast number 30. I forgot what I put on the thumbnail. I want to say 32. So we've had time to, 32. Wow. So thank you guys so much for, I see it. I see the fire in there, for supporting the podcast, not just the opening streams. Hey, Pat out here too. And I can't tell you guys so much. I can't tell you guys enough how much I appreciate it.
That's a new one. That's pretty random.
With the flamethrower. Daniel, aka Pop Pop. You guys, Fierce Fire, OD Opens, Plebs, Chris Pye, TCG. I've seen you been in here the whole time, Chris. Thank you so much, guys. On that note, thank you again, Pat. We'll have to have you on sometime in the future again, maybe after Card Party. There's so much more to talk about with you. You have so much knowledge that you can help the community with, and you've been doing an amazing job with that, uplifting the community and being there for so many other creators, man. So I thank you on behalf of all of us. Appreciate you. Vert, SCU, KB, Olympic, all you guys, Full Metal, Pokestocked, Green Tea. Until next time, guys, my name is Joey. This is Pat Flynn. Peace out, y'all.